Hello and welcome to the Investing Bros. I am T Shroom. I'm going to be taking you inside some pretty wild headlines. CleanSpark, one of the biggest Bitcoin mining companies, stock price has been halted. We're going to be looking at the latest on that to see what is going on with CleanSpark. We're going to be taking a look at some extremely bullish statistics that have never happened before until this week. It has been an absolutely bullish week, and it's just getting started. We're not even in 2025 yet when Donald Trump will take office. It's very bullish. It's very awesome. Go ahead and smash the like button and do me a favor and leave a comment. Where are you from? Where are you watching this video, this live stream from? I'd really love to know. Put a country. You don't need to get specific, but just let me know. We're going to get into some very bullish headlines on the other side of this intro. Let's get All right, we are going to start out with looking at the bubbles here. We see Pole, formerly Matic, bursting forward here, up 15.4%. This has been a pretty dormant coin, and now it's not. Cardano also up 12.5%. Crow up 22%, leading the market today. We do have HBAR up 6.9%, almost 7. ICP finally coming up and grabbing a little bit of attention here. 7.8% to the upside. Arweave doing the same thing. These are not names that we've been seeing week to week. We've been seeing a lot different names, and now these ones are coming forward and being relevant. Chainlink up 7.5%. Caspa actually down today, 5.6%. PIF up 5.4%. There's a lot of green, but there is some red. There is volatility in the crypto space. That is what we've been waiting for. It is what happens when Bitcoin is moving to the upside. Some folks are going to take profit on their Bitcoin and allocate into projects. These are the projects that you're seeing that allocation go into today. Very, very bullish though. Let's look at the Bitcoin charts. I'm quite a bit zoomed out here to answer a question of how high could we get and when. But let's zoom in a little bit more on the 4-hour chart here. And we'll look at some oscillators. We'll look at price action. Right now, I think this is pretty crazy. Every hour, it seems, we're getting new all-time highs. And right now is no different. As you can see here on my chart, right now, we are seeing a $77,000 Bitcoin. You're hearing me right. That is very, very high. Not exactly what I was expecting it to go live with, but Bitcoin is blessing the live stream. Go ahead and smash the like button for Bitcoin here, being absolutely amazing, going crazy to the upside. Let me know, have you made some money today? Let me know in the chat. I'm curious to know. I know I have. It's been very nice to see. But let's look at the oscillators. Let's see if we're getting oversold here. I'm going to open up Lux Algo. You guys can get access to this indicator as well in the link below. This indicator helps me try to see, is it maybe time to sell Bitcoin, right? Is it what we would conclude as overbought? And at this point in time, I'm actually on the 4-hour concluding no. We're actually seeing a reversal dot come in here, which is pretty bullish. We're also seeing that there was a reversal in the hyperwave here, this momentum indicator, which then was actually a lower high, right? A lower high compared to back here on the 31st, kind of late October, that would have actually indicated even more overbought status for Bitcoin. So we are not even as overbought as we were in October, according to Luxalgo Oscillator Matrix. Seeing my money flow coming up positive there, that's bullish. And I am also going to point out the bearish as well. I am seeing 3 reversal dots here. We just got our third one. But these are not the strongest of the indicators. These would just add to a bearish confluence if I was trying to make that case for myself or for others. But other than that, this is looking like there's definitely room to run, right? How would I conclude that there's not room to run, meaning that there's not more upside potential for Bitcoin? I would conclude that if we had just come up here and not had a reversal and just kept going higher here from a momentum standpoint. But that's not what we see. We actually see momentum slowing down, which gives the opportunity for continued price action to the upside, which is what we're seeing. If I go back out to the price chart here, you can see that's exactly what we're getting, consistently higher highs. And the fact that we didn't get a huge God candle out of the election back on Wednesday is the reason why we are not overbought. Now, we're also, one thing to note is that we're also not oversold by any estimation, right? Oversold would mean that hyperwave would need to be back where it was here in early November. Again, I'm on the 4-hour, right? So if you're on the daily, this is going to look very different. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now. But just wanted to point out we are not over, although we are not as overbought as price action might lend you to think that we are. We are actually not as oversold, and that's indicated there by the oscillator. Taking a look at the MACD here on the 4-hour before we get to the daily chart, you can see that there has been actually a bearish cross forming. This one could spell bearishness, so could see this is a much more bearish picture here that the MACD is telling us in terms of momentum compared to the hyperwave over on the Lux-Algo oscillator matrix. And what I'm seeing here is essentially these green histograms are decelerating. Why is that bearish? Well, that's because it's losing momentum to the upside, okay? And then you're also seeing this cross, which if you saw what happened back here, when this crossed, this then led to an acceleration of red histograms, bears taking control to the downside. Now, what did that correlate with? If we go back and look at what price did during this period, price came down, okay? So we're in a little bit of a weird scenario because so much pressure had been building into the U.S. election, and now I would make the argument that that pressure has been released, and it has been released decisively in one direction, and that would be to the upside. Okay, so bullish Bitcoin. Is it going to go higher? Honestly, the Lux-Algo oscillator matrix is suggesting on the 4-hour that we do have room to run. We are getting a actual reversal dot as well as positive money flow there. So that is bullish. That would say yes. However, the MACD on the 4-hour, the very same time frame, seems to be indicating the opposite. So it is a bit of a conundrum here. Honestly, if you look at the tailwinds for Bitcoin, I would say we would probably end up going higher from here and maybe even close the day at new all-time highs, perhaps up at closing in on 77,500 for the very first time for Bitcoin. What an exciting time to be in the space and to be excited about these assets. So we'll answer a lot of other questions in this episode when it comes to price action on Bitcoin. Let's first check out the daily chart here. And as you can see, we're going to look at the momentum oscillators, but this is just looking very, very bullish. After we had quite a nice breakout to the upside here, we had tested it once, twice, 3 times, and then finally, Bitcoin said, no, no, no. After putting in all these lows, we're going to break through and push higher. And here at the Investing Bros, Tim and I had been telling you that we were not going to, it was unlikely that we would break out at this downtrending line of resistance until after the election. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. We did technically get a breakout here before the election happened, but that was just a little bit of over exuberance from speculators, right? And then when we finally got the election result, it was time. It was sayonara, right? It was game over, and now we are in a new era for the top cryptocurrency in the world. It is a very, very exciting time to be bullish, to be long Bitcoin, and I'm glad to be sharing it all with you. Okay, so unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. A lot of people who own Bitcoin understand that Bitcoin has to be mined, and they're thinking to themselves, where is there a way that I could profit from Bitcoin mining? And in previous cycles, one of the ways that you can do that is mine Bitcoin. Unfortunately, these days, it's not as simple as plugging in a GPU and going out and mining Bitcoin yourself. But there is still hope, because what you can do now is invest in large American corporations who do just that, but with much more expensive equipment than your retail grade NVIDIA 4090 graphics card. So what are they doing? They're using ASICs that are specifically designed to mine the Bitcoin protocol. And so what can you do? You can go out and buy stocks in those companies. That is the subject of the company today that is actually halted, known as CleanSpark. This is one of such mining companies. And as you can see, there is no live price for CleanSpark. It has been halted here at $13.57, and it's leaving investors scratching their head. What is going on with this stock? Well, I'm going to cut to the chase. We don't know exactly what it is for sure, but we do have a statement from a member of the organization, CleanSpark, and we also have a statement here from Rex Finance. Rex Finance is, in my opinion, one of the leading kind of thought leaders on Twitter when it comes to investing in CleanSpark. Let's see what he has to say. CleanSpark, lots of chatter about the trading halt, so much banter on how it can only be a bad thing or maybe CleanSpark is being acquired. Here are my findings. As some have noted, CleanSpark warrants surged today with 2.3 million in trading volume. These warrants are directly related to CleanSpark's acquisition of Grid. Something must have gone haywire with the warrants, as the volume and surge doesn't seem natural. In any case, we'll hear what's going on this morning. This is nothing. This is a nothing burger, not bullish, not bearish. Okay. So that is the conclusion from Rex Finance. Again, you may have never heard of him. That's okay. I know, like, and trust him, and I think he's a competent voice on this matter. We'll go to S. Matthew, who is the executive chairman and founder of CleanSpark. Okay, so he's over there hustling every day for you. If you own CleanSpark, he said, hundreds of texts and DMs and emails from shareholders, partners, and friends. We pride ourselves on transparency. Cutting to the chase, the trading halt is not the result of any issue associated with CleanSpark's business, operations, filings with the SEC, financial statements, or securities. If you are a holder of CleanSpark, you may want to read this whole thing. I am not going to, but you can pause the video and read it for yourself. We're going to get bullish here, bros. Let's get into it. Let's take a quick look here at the bubbles, and then we'll get into some very bullish statistics. It's crazy out there right now, some of the things that are going on with the Bitcoin ETF. Again, it looks like Crow is still leading. This is the coin for crypto.com, so those exchange coin narratives picking up here. May see some other exchange coins following in Crow's footsteps in the coming days. Also seeing not quite legacy coins, but some of the coins that you haven't been seeing get a pop finally are getting a nice bid, including Cardano and Pole, formerly Matic, as well as HBAR and Chainlink. A couple other names too on there. AVAX up just under 3%. But let's go ahead and let's get bullish. You guys want to see a chart that is absolutely insane? What I need you to do is go ahead and smash that like button. And you also might be wondering, where the heck is Tim? Before we get bullish, let me just tell you something about Tim. Tim is on vacation. He is going to see a football game. American football, not soccer. So that is what Tim is up to. And if he's watching right now, Tim, I hope you are having a great time. All right, let's take a look at this insane chart. This is the ETF inflows on net. And as you can see here, this green line is higher than all of the other green lines. That is very bullish because that means that we had the biggest record inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs to date. How high was it? Well, if we hover over this histogram, we can see that daily total net inflows was 1.38 billion. That would be smashing the former record back here in March of, if it'll let me hover over it, 1 billion. So we're smashing records today. Let's take a look at it. The writing is on the wall, says Justin Trimble. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is officially bigger than its gold ETF. Wow. Just take a second to think about that. That is crazy. The iShares Gold Trust ETF is now smaller in AUM than the Bitcoin one, than the Bitcoin ETF for iShares. That is so mind-blowing. I can barely even get my head around it, especially when this is coming at a time when gold is near all-time highs. How is this possible? I tell you I can't get my head around it. I am being completely honest when I say that. I don't understand how this can be true, but it is. It is true, and it is causing a lot of investors to think twice, perhaps about their allocation into gold, and maybe take a gaze over at what Bitcoiners have been excited about for years. But let's keep moving here. President-elect Donald Trump, maybe you've heard of him. He's getting a little bit more publicity these days. But Donald Trump asks this person, Robert Lighthizer, Lighthizer to run a U.S. trade policy, Financial Times reports. Who is Robert Lighthizer? Well, we're going to find out here. Unusual Whales says this: Lighthizer spent 3 decades as an attorney at Wall Street law firm Skadden Arps, where he fought imports from China on behalf of the U.S. steel industry, including U.S. Steel. Now, if you've been following the U.S. politics, U.S. elections, and specifically the rhetoric coming from the Trump campaign, you will be able to read between the lines of what this means. And if you don't, you're in luck, because I'm going to explain what this means, because I've been doing just that. China is the key word here. China is the number one exporter of goods in the world. Donald Trump wants to change that. Okay, so bringing on Robert Lighthizer, you may not have heard of him. I will be honest with you, I had not heard very much about him until today. But it signals to the market that Donald Trump is very serious about his tariff policy, right? And we'll be talking much more in the coming days and weeks about tariffs and what they could potentially do to more the stock market side and maybe even the crypto side, but not getting too much into the politics because everybody is so tired of that, as am I. We do want to take a quick little thought here on the philosophy of who could be potentially the leader, the cabinet leader of trade here for the United States. Economic nationalism is what Grok. This is a Grok summary of Robert Lighthizer philosophy of trade. Economic nationalism. Lighthizer approach to trade is deeply rooted in economic nationalism, focusing on protecting American industry, particularly manufacturing. He believes that trade policy should prioritize U.S. workers and manufacturing, advocating for a shift away from the free trade consensus that dominates U.S. policy for decades. Critique of free trade, tariffs, and protectionism. Let's double click on this one and read it. As USTR, United States Trade, Lighthizer implemented policy aimed at reducing trade deficits through tariffs, notably in the trade war with China. He sees tariffs as a tool to negotiate better trade terms and protect domestic industries. His tenure saw an increase in tariffs on steel, aluminum, and numerous Chinese goods. So this one's pretty clear here, bros. There's a lot more. They talk about NAFTA. They talk about China directly, WTO, legacy and current influence. There's a lot that you can go in here and read, but ultimately the writing is on the wall here. If I'm invested in Chinese manufacturing, if I'm invested in even transport companies, this might have me thinking twice about my investments. And that's just the first order effects, right? There's also the second order effects. What about the vendors who provide software to transport companies and to Chinese manufacturing? Again, what I want to highlight here is nothing's going to happen overnight. Nothing's going to happen immediately, right? Of course, that's not how these things work. This is going to be if Donald Trump goes through with these tariffs, which it looks like he will, once he's appointed and made president. This is going to have a very broad impact on global trade. So I'm not going to endeavor to try to explain what those second order effects would be, because A, I haven't really thought about it all that much, and I don't want to lead you all astray. And B, it could not happen, right? There could be a couple of different things that could keep these tariffs from even being implemented or from those tariffs being effective. Okay, so we will absolutely be getting our head around that, though, because this is going to be potentially one of the more significant economic policies of the Trump administration. And it's going to affect companies. There will be winners and there will be losers. The question for us really here at Investing Bros is it going to affect Bitcoin? Is it going to affect crypto? Perhaps you might ask the question, is it going to affect Tesla, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Amazon as well? But first and foremost, it's not clear, judging by the market's response today, it's definitely not clear that Bitcoin investors should have too much to worry about, considering we are pushing all-time highs hour after hour. It is very, very bullish. Mi amigos. Let's take a look here. Mi amig bros. Doesn't work. We'll skip that one. Let's see what is going on here in the chat. Let's see. Redline said stock market is forward-looking, 6 to 12 months. That is good. That is good to remember. We are rocking out at 3:20. We're about 20 minutes into the show here. We've gone through a lot. Let me know if there is anything that you want me to do some technical analysis on or comment on, I have only one more story, and we have our giveaways for today, and then we will be ending the show. If you all don't have too many questions, then we'll be ending it a little bit early. I Roll Fire says, hey, hello, bros. What is up, I Roll Fire? Good to see you here. Let's see what else we got. JR Block saying LMAO. Very, very good. So getting a laugh. I think I have attempted at humor here a couple of times here. JR Block also saying T-Shroom's the man. Trying to gas up your boy. Very nice to see. Okay, we have a couple of recommendations here. Chainlink, Injective, Ethereum. All right, that'll get us through quite a bit of time here. Kyle Fields asking about DIA, DIA. So we'll take a look at these here. Solana dump incoming, question mark, being asked here by AL1. So we might take a look at that one. All right. And ICP also called out. All right, we'll see how far this one goes and takes us. I need to take a little bit of sip of my beverage here. Got to stay hydrated. Got to fuel. Got to stay fueled. All right. So let's see. It was kind of crazy to see that CleanSpark halt. I was not super thrilled to see that because I was hoping that my CleanSpark bags would be continuing their ascent. But it looks like there's nothing too much to worry about there as Bitcoin continues its price discovery. I did want to highlight something before we get into the technical analysis for the altcoins here, which is price discovery. It's what's on our thumbnail for today. Price discovery is a really interesting phenomenon. I'll go ahead and read you guys the definition. Price discovery is a process of determining the price of an asset through the interaction of buyers and sellers. Shocker. It's a key part of the economy, and it helps to keep track of price levels and prevent economic collapse. When you're seeing Bitcoiners and crypto enthusiasts discuss price discovery, what they're thinking about is there's no resistance. Okay, there's no resistance right now for Bitcoin. There is only really theoretical resistance, meaning Fibonacci resistance or some other kind of algorithmically arrived at resistance. If we throw on, for example, Lux Algos, signals and overlays, we actually do see the reversal cloud here, right? And that is forming some semblance of resistance, right? Because it's algorithmically predicting where Bitcoin could face resistance and rejection. I guess it wouldn't really be resistance, but it could face rejection, meaning it won't go higher than that price, okay? That next level of resistance from Lux Algo is 80,500, call it, essentially, on the daily chart, okay? But if we look at this Fibonacci that I have drawn out, it's a Fibonacci trend extension, and it would bring the 1618 all the way up to 121,000. Will there be resistance there? That is at least what this Fibonacci that I have drawn, T-Shroom has drawn, right? I am human. This is not algorithmically arrived. It was pretty simply arrived. But if I turn off some noise here and just take a look at this Fibonacci level, I might even do this on the weekly, you can see that there has been confluence historically, right? If my lows were back here, and then my peak was here, and then my new low was down here, right? This establishing the trend, right? You can see that there were some periods where, especially here, the 0.263 formed resistance, okay? The 0.382 formed support. The 0.5 was actually pretty wildly ignored for a large part, meaning there was a sizable gap in price action here that just kind of no man's land. Bitcoin didn't want to spend too much time here in the 48s. Just said, we're going to hang out here for a while down here in the low 40s, but then we're going to skyrocket, and then we're going to hang out here even longer. So ignoring that 0.5, okay. But then the golden pocket served as basically what would be, the area of support for the next months, right? After the March high, we had months of sideways action here that characterized this downward channel, downward wedge, really, if you get precise with it. But what brought support was mostly this golden channel. Okay, so just for my more advanced traders, they might be thinking, how did you arrive at that Fibonacci level? For my less advanced, traders and investors, you might be like, who cares? What are you even talking about? What is Fibonacci? I thought that was some old Italian guy. It is, but it's also interesting and relevant to today. So taking a look here at that Fibonacci level, it is 121,300. Is that significant to you? It may not be, and it's not going to be significant for probably weeks, if not months. But that is a level that I have drawn, right? Because the question is, how far do we go? And the thumbnail is price discovery, right? So that is the question everyone's asking. And people are going to arrive at many different answers from many different angles of analysis. This is just one, okay? Ultimately, what we do know is that price is likely to continue to discover higher prices. Up, 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 and away. All right. So with that in mind, the stock market can be paused. Okay, so in the stock market, price discovery is more complex than for common market products, and some assets have price limits. We are seeing those price limits today when we look at CleanSpark, right? We are actually seeing the stock market said, halt, go no further. Can that happen with Bitcoin? No, it cannot. That just cannot happen. It also theoretically cannot happen with global commodities, which is what we're seeing here when it says in the futures market, price discovery happens thousands of times a day. So we're not going to wade too much into the semantic details of what these words mean and don't mean. But what's important to understand is that Bitcoin is different from the stock market in that its upward price discovery is not limited, right? It is unrestrained. And that is especially in a time like now where we had a rate cut from the Fed. We had Donald Trump not only win as a pro-Bitcoin candidate, but it also looks like his party, the Republican Party, is going to clinch not just the Senate, but also could clinch the House. The Senate is determined. The House is not quite yet determined. And that could lead to what is very, very bullishly sending excitement all around is the narrative around the National Treasury adopting a Bitcoin positive posturing. So take a look at this tweet here from Mario Newfall. States to plan Bitcoin reserves for 2025. I can confirm that in 2025, multiple states will have strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation introduced. Some states have already shown significant interest in Bitcoin integration. Texas, Wyoming have established frameworks recognizing digital assets under commercial law, while Arizona has seen multiple legislative pushes to recognize Bitcoin as legal tender. Very, very bullish. So Donald Trump has not just inspired, and it's not just Donald Trump, right? But Donald Trump and his team have not just come out and established that what they want to do for Bitcoiners is put Bitcoin in the National Reserve, in the National Treasury rather, but it's also inspired states to go ahead and adopt or take action to adopt that similar type of policy for the states. So it's hard to overstate how bullish that is, and that is another reason why price discovery is happening now. It's because there's so much potential for the future, right? Florida came out and announced that they hold, I think it was 500, might have been $800 million worth of digital assets in their, I believe it was the state pension or state treasury, right? So we're already seeing entire states in the United States go ahead and buy Bitcoin and digital assets as well. So again, hard to overstate how bullish this is. It's a very, very interesting time. Another interesting headline here: stablecoin giant Tether enters oil trade by financing $45 million Middle Eastern crude oil deal. That's just kind of a stray headline I thought I'd share with you all today. Not too much to conclude from that one. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our altcoin analysis. I've got Injective, Link, Ethereum, Solana, DAI, and ICP. I don't know if we'll get through all of them, but let's start with Link. So Chainlink, one of my favorite coins, has crossed over the 200-day moving average. And you can see that here. I'm on the weekly chart. Let me get off of that and go to the daily. What I really want to see, and we were talking about this in the Discord earlier this morning when this price action first got up above the 200-day moving average. Let me make this screen a little bit more viewable here. There we go. Now you can see the dates. What I really want to see is multiple daily candles close above this line. Above 13 is kind of the psychological number. Once we see that, then we will see Link go much higher. But right now, investors are still trying to figure out, is this an anomaly where Link has broken out up above this? This is the line I'm discussing here, the 200-day moving average. Or is this the new normal? Are we going to see a period of trade for Chainlink like we saw earlier in the year in 2024, where trade price action actually maintains above the 200-day moving average, right? But right now, Chainlink is fighting to get out of this period of trade below the 200-day moving average. Okay, so that's that's no small thing. Is that enough though to get investors to come careening back into the asset known as Chainlink? It could be. It could be. And if you're wondering what I think about this asset, I think it's great. I really like this. I think it has a lot of fundamental momentum. Is it the coin that's going to turn $2,000 into $2 million? No, right? It's a little bit more of a conservative play, but it's not as conservative as Bitcoin. Okay, so it'll outperform Bitcoin in my opinion, but it will underperform some coin that you've never heard of that's in the that ranked 2,000 or something like that. Okay, that's just the way the crypto market works. It's not going to outperform the equivalent of penny stocks, right, or small cap cryptos, crypto gems, some people refer to them, but it will, in my opinion, outperform Bitcoin. But just not yet, right? We got to get to altcoin season. It's important to remember that. The hyperwave here is showing me that that there's been quite a bit of consolidation in the momentum, meaning the bulls and the bears have been kind of fighting back and forth. Both have become exhausted, and they kind of just agree. Look, you know what? The price of Chainlink's fine. Let's just keep it there. But it would appear that we've gotten a breakout here. We've gotten a breakout to the upside of that hyperwave, and that is bullish. So after a period of consolidation, again, here for the hyperwave and that momentum indicator, we've actually got a breakout. But we need to see that continue. We need to see that momentum pick up quite a bit on the daily chart. Do have a little bit of reversal candy here down on this hyperwave, so that was pretty good to see. We may have seen that play out. Again, if we do see this turn back over, right, that would signal a loss in momentum, and I would expect probably a test back below that 200-day moving average for Chainlink, which would bring price back down to $12.80, below that. Okay, so that'd be a retrace of, call it 5%. Okay, so that's Chainlink. Taking a look at the MACD, again, not a lot of, it doesn't really help me much, right? If I take a look at this MACD, it's kind of been so choppy, right, on the daily chart. It's been up, it's been down, it's been losing, like kind of not really making up its mind, kind of hard to read other than what we've seen recently, right? Which, similar to the oscillator matrix from Luxalgo, where we see a pretty clear but young breakout on the hyperwave, right? Pretty clear but young breakout there on the hyperwave, and not much signal outside of that. On the MACD, we are seeing finally a little bit of a breakout. I mean, I don't do this very often, but these highs and lows, right? So Chainlink looking bullish. I'm a little biased because I love it. And a reading here of the actual MACD lines also shows widening. Okay, seeing these lines kind of widen out. That's bullish, as long as a blue line stays on top, right? That's bullish. Okay, so that's going to be my TA. I feel like I've barely even cracked open the charts here for Chainlink, but that's my TA on Chainlink. Let's see where it is on the monthly charts from the Bollinger Bands. This is something I was doing quite a bit in the bear market to see which coin would earn my allocation. Oh, are you not going to give me the Bollinger Bands? Come on. Where are those Bollinger Bands? They're not wanting to come in. Huh. Interesting. Let me refresh this and see if we can get those. There we go. Okay, so on the monthly, yeah, it is hugging that midline of the Bollinger Band, not wanting to break out until now. Right, we're finally seeing a breakout. That's there on the monthly chart. And yes, you're looking to your left and you're saying, whoa, how high can Chainlink get here? Well, its previous all-time highs, wick, again, the monthly chart, so it's a high wick, just under 300% back to all-time highs that were put in back in 2021. Okay. All right, we have talked enough about Chainlink. Let's move on to, let's do Ethereum. I think a lot of people will appreciate a little bit of Ethereum TA because a lot of people have Ethereum. All right, so I've got a Fibonacci trend extension drawn out on this bad boy as well. Might take that into consideration. We're coming up. We've broken through the 0.382. So the next level from the Fibonacci standpoint, again on the monthly chart, I'll get off the monthly, don't worry, would be 3,283. And it's also getting a nice springboard off of that midline of the Bollinger Band as well there. I'm talking about a lot of things and I'm going fast. If you guys are wanting to learn more about trading, learn more about investing, Tim is much more sophisticated with technical analysis as well. If you thought I was doing a good job here, and he goes much further into all of this technical analysis. So make sure that if you're having fun now, you tune in again next week when Tim will be back. He'll give you much more concise and much more sophisticated, higher conviction as well, TA, which is important. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel. You just hit that subscribe button that's right there. And if you're ready to take that next step, also hit the like button. And if you're ready to take that next step and invest in your education in trading and investing, go ahead and check out the BroLux membership. If you've been watching for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, right, and you're liking what you're seeing, you can join a community of traders and investors who are here in the BroLux membership. If you're not ready quite to make that commitment, and you can actually go ahead and join our free Discord here as well. It's all in the links below. I've also been using an indicator today called Lux Algo. You can purchase that right now for 20% off. It's, in my opinion, the best trading indicator there is. And if you don't like it after 30 days, you can return it, right? So you have everything to gain, nothing to lose. If you've never tried a proprietary indicator before, this is really going to help you out. When I say, and the link's right here, okay, so go check it out. When I say Lux Algo, what do I mean by that? If I go over here to a clean chart, you can see here, I have a red line, I have a blue line, I have a green line, right? But this is a Bollinger Band, and Bollinger Bands are traditional indicators, and traditional indicators are free. You can get them anywhere, but they only tell you so much. Now, when I put a proprietary indicator over a chart, now all of a sudden there's a lot more for me to bite into and make conclusions based off of. First of all, I can see here that Bitcoin is now entering a reversal wave, entering this red wave, this reversal wave, and that tells me that Bitcoin, the more that it penetrates through this wave to the upside, the higher the probability that we'll actually see a reversal. Now, I'm on the monthly chart again. Why am I still on the monthly chart? Now, one thing to keep in mind though is that when you're investing or trading in a volatile asset like Bitcoin, it sometimes can actually overcome the statistical probabilities that indicators provide. However, if you look at the recent price action for Bitcoin, you can see that it's respected this reversal cloud quite well, not only to the upside but also to the downside. On the downtrend here, you saw that the reversal was respected there, and it was also respected there pretty well. We had the wicks lower, of course. Those are obvious. But look where this one wicked to. It wicked down to that second level of the Lux Algo reversal cloud to the downside, right? Signaling that this is just too tantalizing a level for buyers. If we get down to this level, buyers are going to eat this up. And of course, that's exactly what they did. When you see a wick, that means that the price did not come down here and last for very long. Okay, so all of these indicators can be purchased in the link below right here on Lux Algo. Right now you can get it for 20% off. It's a lot of fun too to get the indicator on there. Even if you're not going to use it to trade, you can have quite a bit of fun learning how price action moves around. It's really fun. Let's take a look at Ethereum. All right, so we are actually getting into on the daily chart. We're getting into that reversal cloud right here. Now, Ethereum is not very confident in its movement higher. As you can see, we have a pretty big sized wick, which is basically the size of half the size of the whole candlestick here. right? So it's moving higher, but the strength of these candles is actually diminishing, and I would expect to see this reflected on the MACD, so on the daily chart. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the MACD that doesn't want to load. Why don't you want to load there? Runtime error. I don't know what that means. Let's reload here. Okay, now let's take a look at our MACD. Again, my guess is that we're seeing histograms waning. Oh, not yet. Let's take a look at the 4-hour, see if that's true. Yes, so there on the 4-hour, you can see that these green histograms are starting to come down, and similar to Bitcoin, you're seeing a cross forming with those MACD lines, and it's the curling of that cross that moves into the cross. See, a cross would look like this, where the lines actually cross each other. We're going to get the cross. But the curling of the MACD line, the blue line, over that orange line indicates to me the early indicator, right, that Ethereum is slowing down. Now, you can see that on the chart. I'm on the 4-hour now, but you can see that on the chart. Ethereum explosive here, and then consistently higher, and then explosive here. A little bit of a pullback. Where's the explosiveness, right? Not too explosive from here on out. And if we go back out to the daily, we might ask why, and we'll find our answer quite quickly. Oh, well, it's coming into the reversal cloud. And you wouldn't know about that if you don't have Lux Algo, right? So that's where Lux Algo is really, really helpful. Now, another thing that Lux Algo does is if I turn this indicator off, whoa, what happened? This green arrow here, this red arrow here, and this green arrow, they disappear, right? You don't have access to them anymore. But if you have Lux Algo, you can actually see where Lux Algo is actually saying this may not be a bad time to buy and sell. So should you interpret these red and green arrows as 100% certainty that you should enter or exit a trade? No. Actually, when you look back in history, sometimes these calls, these algorithmically arrived at calls, are not accurate. But more often than not, they are. And so a lot of traders and investors actually turn to Lux Algo as a way to go ahead and say, this is actually where I'll enter this asset, right? Or in the case back here, once I've entered it here, maybe I'll exit it here, right? And so if you look at what that would have arrived at, you would see that this one is just absolutely on never work. There we go, 14%, right? So somewhere in that camp. Now this is I'm stretching it a little bit, but ultimately more like 12%. You can see that using these indicators, you can actually be profitable in trading. Now you have to use something though called confluence, right? What is confluence? It's everything I've been doing on the charts, right? It's looking at multiple indicators, maybe looking at an oscillator, maybe looking at a traditional indicator like a MACD, maybe turning off my proprietary indicator and turning on my Bollinger Band, if it'll work. The Bollinger Band just doesn't want to work today. I don't know what it is. Maybe the Bollinger Band's taking the day off. It still doesn't want to work. Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, we'll just let the Bollinger Band rest then. So I don't know what's going on with that. But overall, you want to use confluence. You want to use multiple indicators at the same time, not just one. And it's very tempting to download a cool indicator like Lux Algo and just use its recommendations instead of doing your own finding confluence as well. So just a little bit of note there for folks who are looking seriously into learning how to trade and invest. Okay, so what have we learned about Ethereum here? Not a whole lot, but what I'll go ahead and tell you guys that I told in my Discord is that I bought Ethereum. I rotated quite a bit into Ethereum. Why did I do that? Well, it's simple. Bitcoin is pushing all-time highs, okay, and Ethereum is got quite a bit of a gap before its all-time high up here at be about 40% now. I believe its all-time high actually is higher. Yeah, I'm glad I checked that because that would have been inaccurate. Let's go out to the weekly and just do this measurement. It's got about 65% till it gets back to its all-time high here of about $4,800 per coin. Okay, so what does that tell me? Why did I buy this? Well, there are only two coins. There are only two cryptos that have an ETF, and those are Bitcoin and Ethereum in the United States. Okay, so why would I want to buy this one? Because it's the only other coin that has an ETF. We looked and we saw how much the Bitcoin ETF was getting allocated, more than $1 billion in a day. Okay, and that is telling me that that could potentially happen with an alternative to Bitcoin, an altcoin, and the best performing altcoin, if you look at the full history of crypto, is Ethereum. Now, there's definitely been other altcoins that have done better than Ethereum more recently. In 2023, Caspa did the best of all the altcoins. Solana has also been a runaway coin that has done really, really well. These are coins, if you're advanced and you're experienced in crypto, you've definitely heard of them. But if you're just getting into Bitcoin, just learning about crypto for the first time, it may be the first time you're hearing about Solana or Caspa. Okay, but I bought Ethereum because the money that I used to fund this allocation came from a sell. And I talk in more detail in the Discord about this, of course, but it came from a sell of money that was also more conservatively invested in the crypto space. So very, very confident in this move. I'm very excited because historically, if history is any guide, Ethereum will go back up and touch its all-time highs, if not exceed them. So that's what I'm expecting. That's why I bought Ethereum. Let's see what else we got here. DAI. We gotta do some TA here for Kyle Fields. Crypto Geo. I'm gonna get into Injective as well, but not before I hydrate. Hydration is key. Somebody said I sound like Bob Ross. I do think I've arrived at a point where I'm channeling the Bob Ross of it all. So hopefully you're enjoying that. I do sound like Bob Ross, don't I? Oh my gosh. It's kind of crazy. Happy little clouds, that's right. Happy little smart trails. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's keep on rocking. What was I going to look at next? DIA? D-I-A? Now, I got to be honest with you, this is not one that I look at very often. DIA. DIA. Okay. All right. Let's see. Get my bearings here on this chart. Off the bat, what I'm noticing is that it's kind of playing in the middle right now. So while Bitcoin is kind of playing up close to the reversal waves on the daily, reversal cloud on the daily, it's kind of much more undervalued, I would say, for this period of the cycle. DIA is. I'm going to see if that's reflected on the oscillators, and indeed it is. Much more underbought, much more undervalued, but the money flow is telling me that that could be for good reason, because this money flow is quite negative here. So not a lot of money flowing into the asset. Okay. Do have a reversal here, but that's because we were reaching some pretty extreme levels of oversold for DAI. Take a look at the MACD, and this is going to tell me that there's hope. There's hope for DAI as these red histograms are resolving back and bears are losing control. And you're also seeing some initial curving of that MACD. Earlier, we saw the MACD up here showing signs of curling down. Now we're seeing the other side of the story on the daily chart. Let me get this chart a little bit better. I don't know why. I just don't know why it could be like that. There we go. So what does that tell me? Well, there could be some hope here. The MACD is certainly on the daily giving me some hope for this asset, and considering Bitcoin is hitting all-time highs, you know, this is one of those coins right now that for some whatever reason, like its peers, it is red today, right? Got a decent amount of them that are red. Got MOG, SPX, Caspa, GOAT. And a lot of these are down because yesterday they were just absolutely skyrocketing higher. Okay, so as we look here at DAI, it does make me wonder, why is it not going up with Bitcoin? And there's probably a lot of variety of reasons for that, but yeah. Let's see what else I can do. Let's go down to the 4-hour, see what that's telling me, what it might do on a lower time frame. Don't like this. So we're getting a sell indicator here from Luxalgo. Again, You want to look at confluence though. You don't want to just sell if you see just an indicator, right? But that is usually not great. So we'll have some support here at 0.81. I would imagine that we probably see some price action come back down here into this level. So between 0.82 and 0.79 at the we might see a return to that. And again, with Bitcoin hitting all-time highs, I really do want to see strength in these names. So I don't need to see strength every single day. Okay, I understand that coins have to rest; they have to come back, retrace, find new support, which we are seeing here for DAI. I will point out. You know, we've got a higher low, which is great for price action. But I do need to see at some point, you know, we return to the upside. And I have every reason to believe that this one should continue higher. Looking at the oscillators here for the 4-hour, and then we'll move on to Injective for Crypto Geo. I do see that my money flow is green and moving to the upside, although much more recently we have seen a little bit of a correction down lower. So that's something to be aware of. We're exiting a period of overbought, right? And now the question is just how low do we go on oversold? And I don't have any indication from Candy that would be up top or down below of which way we might move. Wait a second, that is a little dot there. There's a little reversal dot. You might not be able to see it, but it is very faint. So I'm seeing hope here. I saw some hope on the daily chart on the MACD, but I think we could potentially push lower before we see that movement back to the upside. Ooh, bear cross there on the 4-hour MACD. So a lot less hope on the 4-hour from the MACD than on the daily. This is bearish, right? Pretty bearish setup. This is a pretty bullish setup, but it is not immediately bullish because this is just the curl, right? It's got to come in and it's got to realize that cross, and then we can push higher, right? It's got to have that cross. And then also, you know, these histograms, while they are decelerating, which is bullish, you know, you've still got, I don't know what I'm drawing there, you've still got a ways to go, okay? So if I just continue this trajectory here, which is not the smartest way to do this, but probably the 16th is when we would see investors coming back in because they're seeing green histograms again, right? But a lot can happen. You usually don't want to do that. You don't want to just draw with a line on the histograms because you could get something like this, right? Well, you knew what I'm saying. Injective. Let's take a look here at Injective. Injective is a coin I hold, not a lot of it, but it is a layer 1, and it is it could do well. It could do well. I think it will do well. I don't know if it's going to outperform Solana in 2024, but it should do well. I don't know if, you know, I kind of see it as like, I kind of see Injective in a similar camp to HBAR. I know they do different things, but in terms of like the type of investors who are considering it, these are going to be layer 1 specific investors who are looking into layer 1s. HBAR, Injective, what are some other layer 1s that are kind of in that category? Maybe AVAX, maybe Chainlink. I think AVAX is probably taken a little bit more seriously than Injective. But look, you know, that's just from like a consumer confidence. No, definitely not the right word. I'm running out of gas here, bros. My brain is slowing down. But let's keep looking at here at the chart. All right. So for Injective here, we just actually the opposite of DAI, we actually just got a buy rating here on the daily chart. So that's nice to see. And that buy rating has mostly played out. Okay, so you know, if you were looking to enter into Injective, I wouldn't say you missed the boat, right? But Injective is now much more expensive than it was down here at 15.9. Okay, because now we're all the way up at 22. Hopefully you got on the boat, but if you didn't, that's okay because we've looked at a couple of names here that are better for buy. Injective on the oscillators, on the daily, looking strong, and that makes sense because prices just moved quite a bit higher. MACD on the daily, Just had a cross. Looks strong. So, what I want to see from this is for it to break out of this. What is this, a descending wedge that it's in right now? Looks like it might have broken out depending where you draw the lines. But, yeah, this looks like a descending. Kind of depends where you draw the lines. But we could be seeing a breakout right now after what you could call 2 failed breakouts there. Yeah, I'd say this is strong. So what you'd want to see, this is pretty strongly bullish. What you'd want to see from here is a comeback, a retest of this, and then a movement higher, right? So those who are bullish, I wouldn't expect price action purely to the upside from here. I would expect a comeback, a retest of this downtrending line of what was resistance and has now been given the opportunity to flip support back down here at $20. Well, probably, probably stay up above $20.50 and then get a rebound. So if you missed the boat, I would be looking for a pullback there, back to $20.50 or somewhere in that region. All right, bros. Well, it is 3:57. We've got to do our big giveaway. Let's do it. So this is the giveaway here for looks out for the Investing Bros BroLux membership giveaway. And let's go ahead and spin the wheel. If you're the winner, go ahead and claim your winnings by going into the Discord, a general chat, and adding at me. When I'm done with this stream, I will go into the Discord and I will say, DM me here. And that's where you will just DM me and I will see that you're who wins. All right, so let's go ahead and spin this wheel and see who's the winner. Silent. Very nice. Now this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. So Silent is a very active trader in our Discord, and Silent actually pointed out this week that he was not in the running to win this giveaway. So Silent, you were the big winner. We I believe we've DM'd a couple of times, so we already have a DM chat going in Discord. But yeah, big winner. Congratulations there, Silent. Very, very excited for you. If you do want to join the free Discord or go ahead and make that investment in your trading future or investing future down here, that's where you can go ahead and take that next step down here. And if you want to join our free Discord, you can do that here. Would encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to this channel as well. But I bring up DM safety. If you are going to join our Discord, there are people who will reach out to you and they will impersonate, they will imposter us, Tim, myself, and Crux of Crypto. This happens in every Discord though, not just our community. So just be careful of that. If they reach out to you, they may not be real. In fact, we have a policy in our Discord community that we will never reach out to you first, right? That's why I say when you win our spin the wheel here, you have to reach out to me, and then usually I'll verify with you that I'm real, and then we'll go from there. But be careful out there. You're in crypto, which has loads and loads of opportunities to become wealthy through investing and trading, but you do have to realize that we are in the Wild West. Where there's lots of opportunity, there's also a lot of scoundrels. There's a lot of predators out there. So just be very, very careful. And it's very easy to stay safe if you are mindful and you are not replying to DMs that are unsolicited and reaching out to you, especially ones that are impersonating influencers with larger followings, such as ourselves here at the Investing Bros. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I've been T-Shroom. We will not be going live tomorrow on Saturday for our regularly scheduled 11 a.m. stream. That is because I am going on vacation too. So Tim will be going to a football game, and he's on his way there now. And I'll be going down to Miami for a rodeo, actually. So stay tuned on my Twitter. I will make sure to post some cool pictures of that. But without further ado, continue to buy low, sell high, stay hydrated. And if you see anybody out there having a bad time, be sure to lend a hand and try to help them out, do the right thing, help them get educated, whether it be on crypto, on health, on relationships, whatever it is. Go out there and use that wisdom and knowledge that God's given you to be able to help others, because that's the right thing to do. All right. Adios, bros.